things on the. We're live now. We
Oh
learn all kinds
boy,
of things on the pre-show.
the
Um,
pre-show.
Well, I'm gonna let that secret die with me. I'm not gonna
yeah,
share
we're
that
not
with
going to
the
share
with the
that.
viewers here.
I'm sure it'll come out eventually. Everything always does.
Well, either
I
way.
just posted it on Twitter.
It's on TikTok now, Gomer. It's the pre-show where we talk about what we're going to do on the show. How's it going, guys?
Good.
I'm doing
Good.
okay.
Talk about what we'll do. I'm sharing the show around a little bit. Some of my groups.
Well, of
Just
course,
talking
we got
about-
some Kenobi to talk about.
Oh yeah, definitely Kenobi. Oh, it was fantastic. I forgot which groups I've shared it to now. Have I already shared it to that group? Yes, I have. But yeah, I done forgot what I was gonna say. Kenobi's just distracted the shit out of me.
Sorry, I thought we were talking about what we were gonna do.
Oh, it's gonna be dope. It's gonna be. It was so great. I had such a great time. Anyway, it's segment one. We'll talk about what we did this week. I watched some new thing. I'll talk about a legend retires from Marvel Comics. We're going to talk about him in depth. It's Joe Quesada. You guys don't know.
Joe
I
Quesada
know.
still with Marvel?
Not anymore. That's the story.
He retired. Yeah, he had a very emotional post that he made.
Yeah. DC
Oh.
has a concert tour happening, but not
Huh.
like you think. Yeah. More Dark Crisis books have been announced. Whatever. I'm just really excited for Dark Crisis. And we're going to give equal time to Hellfire Gala, which is only a one-shot this time around. But
Thank goodness.
I'm
I
glad.
liked it.
I mean,
I liked it.
I like Hellfire Gala. I like the event last year, but I don't know that it needs to be an annual, like, huge crossover. I
Yeah.
like the idea of it being an annual one shot, just not a,
I think it's
massive
happy medium.
sprawling thing.
Yeah.
You know.
And then Kenobi, of course. Food news only one this week, but it's a doozy.
Mm.
Doozy.
And then top three, which I don't have any Marvel books in my top three this week.
I am struggling to come up with a top three this week.
It was rough. It was rough. Although my top two were spot on. Again, Dark Crisis teaser. But and then there's a really good. I think Dave will probably have this on his list too. I know he was going to pick it up, but yeah. Anything else you guys want to add to the show this week?
I did go see Maverick, and I can talk about that in segment
Oh,
one, at
okay,
least.
okay. As long as there's a homoerotic volleyball scene in it.
There's a homoerotic football scene.
Oh, they changed the sports. They changed the sports. That's my favorite part of the
Is
movie.
someone running after Tom Cruise?
Yes, people are tackling Tom Cruise, and they're
And
yeah.
laughing. Oh, it's my favorite. Awesome. We'll talk about that. Dave did nothing. Probably.
I didn't get splashed in the face this week with gasoline.
Well, that's a good thing.
Things are looking up for old David.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
I actually watched this earlier this week for background noise.
Somebody wake up Hicks.
I love that shit.
Elevator straight to hell.
Yeah. Nuke it from orbit.
It's the only way to be sure.
The only way to be sure.
Man, how much of that movie would have been different if they had just listened to Ridley?
You have to wait. You have to wait. Intro time. Greetings, geeks. Welcome back. Another episode of This Geek in Comics, Outright Geekery's comic book shit talk show.
Shit talk show.
Jazz hands. Gomer, aka Dave Taylor. What would Aliens have been better if only Taylor?
Oh no! How different would that movie have been if they had just listened to Ridley? Is all I'm saying.
Oh well, from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean
You
the
know?
movies would have been terrible because they would have been over in 5 minutes. But
I think that's part of the point. Like the big corporation.
yeah, the lives of the fictional characters would have been a lot better if they had listened to Ridley.
Well, sure, but the corporation was in control. That's the whole point. of
That's
that
a fair
movie.
point. Yeah,
Cameron always.
that's the parable there. Yeah.
Capitalism.
Hey, Andy.
Hey, Andy.
Unabated.
Run amok. That's run amok. I watched. Let me go to the banners. I don't have anything for your Top Gun Maverick, but I did. Man, I got a lot of images this week. I did watch the new episode of The Orville. I'm a huge fan of The Orville. Why? Because it's Star Trek from the
best Star
90s.
Trek
Honestly,
right now.
It's Star Trek from the 90s. I don't know if it's the best
It's-
right now. Strange New Worlds is fucking amazingly cool, dude. It's so dope. But
Orville's kind of
just
like that
great.
interesting sweet spot between it's like almost like a ribbing of Star Trek, but also clearly from a position of love. You know?
Oh yeah, for sure. And I don't know if you keep up with the show, but there was this alien attack, and the aliens, are terrible. But one of the aliens was on the Orville and ended up saving the day, and nobody was, whatever. But there's all this racism towards him now on the ship. And it was like he committed suicide. I mean, spoiler alert, I can't help it. It was such a deep episode. And it's like overcoming your prejudices and dealing with something hard, like being bullied and everything. Yeah, Andy posted a review on the Outright Geekery group. Go over there and check that out. It was very nice, very fun, very good times. Love when everybody's, streaming. But yeah, it's on Hulu. It's a Disney joint now. So yeah, the Orville is fucking dope. It's so cool. I love it. Taylor saw Maverick.
I did see Maverick. Well, the relationship with Goose was a big part of this one, but honestly, this is like the exact sequel to Top Gun that you would have in your head. But that's not really a bad thing,
Okay.
I mean, this movie
He's just
is
a teacher, right? Teaching young people how to fly airplanes.
Yeah, they've called him back to Top Gun to like train the like best and brightest of the new generation for this like hyper difficult, perilous mission that they have to go on.
I mean, who are we fighting in this? Russia?
They never explicitly say. They just call them the enemy. It
must be
probably like it
it's
takes place.
Be aliens.
There's like this big snowy backdrop for the place, so probably Russia, but they never explicitly say.
I don't know. I mean, maybe China has some.
It could be. That's fair. It could be.
Compete, but
they keep that vague. But
yeah, I'm hearing Russia is shit in Ukraine right now is being held together with duct tape and stuff. Like literally,
that's true. If this is meant to be Russia, then they are vastly overestimating Russia's military capability.
Yeah.
But
I think they all are vastly overestimating.
But I did enjoy the movie quite a lot. It was, like I said, not something that's going to like blow your mind. If you like the first Top Gun, you should like this one quite a lot.
I like it ironically almost.
Well, Top Gun in a lot of ways is the ultimate 80s movie. Even people who have never seen Top Gun can probably give you the beat by beat of what goes on just by pop culture osmosis,
Yeah,
I don't think I've seen Top Gun since the 80s.
Wow. It holds up okay if you set it in the 80s, Cold War, dumb stupidness like that.
I mean, it's a stupid fun movie, and that's what
it is.
What this one is too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I enjoyed it. There was cool action. The plot was the plot did what it needed to do to move the plot along,
Wow. Okay.
Oh, fuck you.
No, that doesn't sound like it's a no, I'm not trying to talk shit. I'm just saying the plot did what it needed to do to move the plot along.
It's a Tom Cruise joint.
No, but Mission Impossible, there's depth there. I mean, it's not.
See, this is where we're going really divergent there. I don't like the Mission Impossible movies.
Really?
The Mission Impossible movies are just, maybe that's just because they're overhyped. They're fine.
They are very overhyped.
Yeah.
But I put them in the same classification as like the Fast and Furious movies almost. Even the newer James Bond movies. Even the older James Bond movies, for fuck's sake. It's just big, dumb, stupid action nonsense. And that's okay. There's a space for that. And I'm okay with Maverick too. The first one is like the lowest of the 80s like war propaganda movies. It's Hunt for Red October is the top. And then way, 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 way down at the bottom is the Top Gun. And again, that's still okay. Yeah, plot drives the characters. That's probably a fair way to say it. Taylor, would you agree?
Yeah, I'd say so. And the character work was pretty good in this. The most compelling relationship here was between Maverick and Rooster, who's Goose's son.
Ooh, he was in the first one. Meg Ryan was carrying him around and he had a little star screen.
Yeah, he's all grown up and he's Miles Teller now.
Amazing. He was Mr. Fantastic, wasn't he?
Yes, he was in the Fantastic movies.
Dave, did you do anything cool this week, man? Worth mentioning?
Not worth mentioning, no.
Well,
I did also see Chippendale Rescue Rangers.
I saw that last week.
We've been talking about Maverick for like 15 minutes.
Well, you already talked about that last week, and I don't really have anything to add.
Awesome.
It was fine. It was fine.
I loved it.
It
Movie of the
is
year
a
so
great
far.
nod to basically 80s cartoon series. It's a love letter to them.
Yeah, I mean, it is a fun like Easter egg hunt, and it does have that Who Framed Roger Rabbit energy, and Roger Rabbit in it,
and
it had Roger Rabbit in it. Yes,
and you can't go wrong with J.K. Simmons as a Gumby character.
Yeah, dude, it's so great. Yeah, I'm sorry, I adore that movie. All right, we're not going to talk about that. Let's do that. Okay, living legend has retired. Joe Quesada, longtime Marvel Comics executive, former editor-in-chief. He's been the vice president and creative director of Marvel Entertainment since 2019. He was the chief creative officer before he was replaced by Kevin Feige, of all people, in 20-something. Sorry, I'm going to go. Oh, hey, later on, man. Have a good night, Andy. Andy's boning out. He'll listen later. Anyway, yeah. So, I mean, just celebrating this guy's career. He retired on June 1st. Over 30 years. Okay, I think it was 20 years or more at Marvel Comics. He ushered in Marvel Knights, the Ultimate Universe. There's this thing known as the Fever Memo, where he was really sick, and he wrote like a company-wide memo and sent it out. It says he still doesn't remember it, but a lot of the things that he laid out in there, like, are still part of Marvel Comics again,
I mean, it's difficult to overstate the legacy this guy has at Marvel. I mean, he really pulled their asses out of the fire when they were at their absolute lowest point.
Nobody wanted the job.
Yeah.
Nobody wanted. That's why that's basically how he got it.
He did a lot to shape the comics world we know today, not just Marvel, but the wider comics world.
Even deeper than that, dude. Yeah.
Now, as he's retiring as an editor-in-chief, will he be returning to art?
Well, he's doing a movie right now. He's doing like an indie movie. I think he's directing, writing it, something, maybe both. But yeah, he's still going to be doing things, obviously. But I don't know. I would love to see him go back to at least cover work somewhere.
I would love to see him do interiors again. He had some of the best interiors. I mean,
yeah.
I know I rag on Joe Quesada a lot in past episodes, but I do.
Well,
love
it's easy. I mean, one more day. That's all you got to say. That was all him. Nobody else. Him. He ordered that to happen, and everybody hated it. I think it ended up being better for Spider-Man in the long run. It was just not a really good way to do it.
That is still widely debated. If no one liked it at the time, it was definitely unpopular. But was it for the greater good?
Oh,
the jury's kind of still out on that one. I think.
Oh, I don't know. I think I could make a really strong argument that no, doing what happened in one more day was the best thing for that character, but the way they went about it was kind of dumb. But I mean, what else could they do? If it wasn't Mephisto, it would have been some time travel bull. You know what I mean? It would have been something.
It would have happened eventually.
Yeah. But I would like to say, along with Cup of Joe, which brought, he was talking literally to the audience, which didn't happen since Stan Lee, to the amount that he did it. But he hired the right people. I think that was the most important thing, right? He put a focus on putting the focus on the right characters, right? Everything that he did, even in those early years, set up what we know today as the MCU. All right. Avengers Disassembled was the groundwork for the MCU. The Avengers were shit before Joe Q got there and put Bendis in charge. They took the best characters, Spider-Man and Wolverine, who were from two of the franchises that they sold off that were so successful in the movies at the time, to make the Avengers high enough profile that they'd be able to move into the screen. And they did it. And again, it was under him that happened. They hadn't sold to Disney yet. That was him.
The pop culture juggernaut that is the MCU probably would not be here today. And I'm glad you mentioned Bendis, because I was going to mention, Bendis' decade of decadence, as you always called it. He was the guy who set that up.
Exactly, dude. He was the one who's had the foresight to do this. Even the Marvel Knights building up Daredevil stuff, especially the Ultimate Universe stuff. But even things like that were kind of accidental, setting up Planet Hulk, which got Hulk off of the table. House of X, which decimated mutants at the end. So you could have your Civil War, Annihilation. Without Annihilation, you don't have the Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, you don't.
And that was him.
Yeah, Annihilation, arguably still the best event they've ever done.
Yeah.
But
we got a bunch of comments.
They're the same comment. It looks like spam.
Oh, it's just spam.
Oh, can you see that, David? I had no idea we could see that.
I can see that. You go to comments on the sidebar
tutorial,
here. And you can
I've never done that. Oh well.
There you go. If Kevin Feige's role is important, and we know it is, okay, he's, I don't know, the father of the MCU. It's not that hard to say. Everything that he's done there has been a success, even the stuff that people say isn't a success. But it's hard not to have Joe Quesada in this debate for people who made the MCU possible. I'm sorry, it's just not. And
yeah, I mean,
I think you should get more credit. And again, I know this Dave shits on him, but I understand why. But it's hard to deny that this dude did a lot of fucking.
Yeah, I mean, I shit on him for editorial reasons, but I do like his artwork.
I mean, a lot of the. Well, I mean, we're mostly talking about his legacy as an editor here.
I know, that's why I'm keeping my mouth shut.
It is. I mean, it is true that a lot of the stuff, like, it didn't always pan out very well. I mean, the Ultimate Universe eventually became a real shit show by the end, but
it was awesome early on.
The Ultimate Universe is exactly what Marvel needed. The Ultimate Universe did a lot to reinvigorate that entire company. So I think that it's definitely a good thing that he, ushered that in.
I mean, only Spider-Man was really, cream of the crop there, of course. The Ultimates was fantastic. The X-Men, dude. Ultimate X-Men, if you look at each arc of that and the creative teams that they put on these books, I can't believe it suffered as much as it did, but it's not even that good. Going back and reading it, it's not that great. It feels really weird and forced, and I don't know. It's amazing. Even up to Secret Wars, Joe Quesada was there, and I consider that sort of and it's almost like from Civil War to Secret Wars is this big, huge Joe Quesada stuff, and just a great guy. I'm sad to see him go for Marvel. Nothing but luck on what he's got going next. Moving on, DC in concert. This is just weird to me, and I figured I'd mention it. It's like
is it like one of those things where, like, they show the movie and play the score with, like, a live orchestra or something?
They are going to play the score with a live orchestra, yes, and there is going to be like not an interactive screen, but like a screen where you can, I guess, see what's happened while the music was playing, kind of like a music video with live music from '89 Batman, Justice League in 2017, and even up to the Batman in 2022, which I don't know, I had okay music, I guess. I don't know.
It'll be that Nirvana song.
Well,
because I was about to say, wait, what? I mean, Batman '89. Are they gonna have? Prince covers? I want some Prince covers.
The Batman theme they did, where it really kind of sounded like the Imperial March from Star Wars. That it was pretty memorable.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of good scores, like that Batman score from '89. That's really good. I imagine they'll get the John Donner Superman score going.
Dude,
that would be sweet.
Awesome, man. That's so
Richard Donner. I don't know why I said John.
Richard Donner.
Yeah. John Donner would be a terrible name.
Wasn't it John Williams who did that?
Maybe that's where I was.
Yeah,
maybe I was crossing my wires there.
Yeah,
I mean, like it'd be like John Williams for Superman, and it'll be like Danny Elfman for at least the '89 Batman.
Yeah, and I mean that's all dope shit, dude. That'd be great.
So there's some good music to play. I've heard of them doing this sort. It is an odd thing, but I've heard of them doing this with other things, like they show like Star Wars and the orchestra plays.
And they've done that with video games from Nintendo. I know that.
Yeah. It's just hard for me to be like, oh man, you know what I would like to go do? Listen to the movie soundtracks live. Wait.
It is difficult to say who the audience for this is. Like people who go to concerts and people who are, the nerd crowd don't necessarily have a lot of crossover.
Yeah, I'm looking for the intersection here, and
they're out there, I'm sure, and I'm sure that they crunch the numbers and assume that this is going to make them money.
So there you go. That sounds like fun. More Dark Crisis titles have been announced. It's kind of hard to see, really. This is the checklist that we got originally. All right, this is the one that came out.
I think that's the one that's in the back of the book I got this week.
Yeah, but here is the new one. As you can see, I'll go back and forth. They have definitely updated a few things, but I've got it written here. In October, Dark Crisis, the Deadly Green #1. I don't have covers for any of these. I didn't see covers. There were 2, but I couldn't tell what they were for. Anyway, John Kent joins forces with Swamp Thing, John Constantine, and more to explore the spread of the Great Darkness's influence on the multiverse and beyond. November, Dark Crisis, The Dark Army #1. Damian Wayne, Dr. Light, and a ragtag team of heroes cross enemy lines to steal control of the Dark Army from Pariah, but in the process uncover a secret about Dr. Light's place in Crisis on Infinite Earths that rocks the future of the DCU. Creative talent for both teams, talent teams for both issues will be announced at later date. The Flash now extends its Dark Crisis crossover from issues 783 to 785. And now it's also going to include 786. So that'll be good. Wally West is exhausted and has been running nonstop since even before he had to step up in the wake of the loss of the Justice League. But as he's figured out what he needs to do to free Barry, while also keeping Wallace from falling into Pariah's plans, we will definitely talk about that later. And then I Am Batman #15. John Ridley is going to come out in December. It will also connect to Dark Crisis, which is fucking weird. Why is Dark Crisis touching over there even?
Talk to me about that is surely there's more issues of I Am Batman coming out between now and November. So is that the only one that's tying into it?
That's what it sounds like, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because you can see it here in the list for November. I Am Batman #15, but there's no other I Am Batman on there.
No.
As far as I could tell, and this is a big spoiler, they've kind of already announced the team that is going to be the new Justice League from next week's Dark Crisis. We'll talk about more about that tomorrow night on the preview show. But it's wild, dude. I fucking adore it. It's so good. But there was no I Am Batman in there. New York's Batman was on in there, Fox. And then Dark Crisis #1 from Joshua Williamson will be available on the 7th of June, which I just mentioned, 2 days from now. So yeah, it's basically another $18 if you want to collect the whole thing. I'm already reading I Am Batman. I wasn't planning on picking up Flash anyway. These other two, the Dark Army one sounds like it's like a must read. Like you've got to pick this up. It sounds like it's going to be really important. And that Deadly Green, John Kent and Swamp Thing teaming up, that just sounds cool.
That does sound like a cool pairing, yeah.
I would definitely probably pick that one up just because of Swamp Thing.
I mean, John Kent meeting up with Constantine and Swamp Thing is fun already. And also just, Swamp Thing and Constantine hanging out is always a good time.
They're fun, dude. They're fun. So yeah, there you go. We'll have more on Dark Crisis again a little bit later on this episode, but even more tomorrow and next week. First issue is going to be so much fun. Moving on to the Hellfire Gala, the annual ball that is basically a state dinner for Krakoa. Things have changed a lot since the last one. We do get some preview issues or some preview pages. This comes out on July 13th. Jerry Duggan and CF Villa, Mateo Lally, Russell Dauterman, Chris Anka all doing the art. This is the Russell Dauterman cover, but there's going to be a lot of covers. I love this one. This one's really great because they get the height right, Yeah,
I mean, embrace Wolverine shortness. That's a good thing to see.
Yeah. But here's some of the previews. Looks really cool here. This is Clea. This is the new Strange from the Strange book, which I'm hoping that the Hellfire Gala one-shot is not mostly that. Like just trying to get you to read other books. You know what I mean? They've got to be there for a reason, and it's got to make sense within the X-Men story that's currently happening.
That being said, I mean, half the fun is getting to see all these characters who are normally outside of the X-Men's orbit get to interact with these characters. Sure. Oh, and there's our boy Doom with his great look, I gotta say.
I love his look.
And nice the Spider-Man.
Yeah, and Spidey getting a...
Is that Miles or Peter?
Probably I don't know yet.
Oh man, the Miles book this week was awesome, dude.
It definitely
didn't make my list, but it was so good.
Is that one of your retirees?
Yeah, it's one of my retirees. I hope this is Miles, dude.
It definitely looks more like Miles' color scheme.
Yeah, but I'm not sure. We'll find out. And then there's the 5, but somehow there's 6 of them. I guess Magic's with them.
Magic is hanging out with them for some reason.
Yeah, love that. Great thing.
Well, I guess she might be their escort. She is one of the captains. Yeah.
Yeah. Very cool here with the captains. What Doug here has a date. I mean, that's not right. He's married. Come on, Doug.
Oof. What the hell, Doug?
His old lady's stuck over there in Otherworld, no?
Yeah, and his old lady could fucking break him in half. So that is really dumb of him.
Yeah, but there's no gates to Otherworld, so he's just biding his time. But it looks like Proteus is gonna end up. So I don't know what's gonna happen there. We'll see. But then I'm guessing this is Moira here. with the Inferno going on in the background.
That for sure is Moira, yeah.
Yeah, so something's going on here. It looks like Emma and Scott are sharing a dance. That's going to be fun.
So yeah, the Dodderman cover made it look like this in the Dodderman cover made it look like Scott is going back to Emma, maybe, or
well, I don't know if it's a back. I think it's just sort of an open thing that they've got going on.
Well, true. I mean, Jean and Wolverine have a thing.
Yeah. The problem I have with this is Scott Summers supposed to be dead. And all these people are visiting, you know what I'm saying?
It seems like that is kind of being undone in the X-Men book right now anyways. Remember the time this comes out, the whole Captain Krakoa thing will be gone.
Oh, yeah, perhaps. Well, it's only a month, so.
I don't know.
Another one here. I love this classified. Who could it be? What is happening? But some great shots. Steve Rogers here. It looks like, I don't know, is that Tony there next to him? Maybe.
I think it probably is, yeah.
Is that Luke Cage with this leopard thing going on?
I thought it might be T'Challa. I'm not sure.
Oh, well, no, it doesn't. He wouldn't work right with Orange Tiger, I don't know.
That's true. It's hard to tell from this far out.
Yeah.
Well, by this time, he may be the mayor of New York.
Oh, true.
Well, he's mayor of New York now, right? Oh, yeah. Well, they might not talk about it in this issue. You're right.
I like that look for Kitty, although I do like the whole pirate motif she has going on in general.
Yeah, I love that pirate shit. Magic looks cool. Even though her demonic powers are kind of weakened now because of the issue of New Mutants where she basically gave Limbo away. I'm anxious to see where that goes actually in that book. But then this great, Steve Rogers look. Emma, as always, looking amazing. And then just I love these pages, and this is what it should be, Tell the story, yeah. Give us the look with Xavier. He's pouting at somebody, but everybody having fun in the background, doing their mingling. That's what the gala's all about, the fashion, the fun. That's what I'm hoping for, man. I love that shit. I love the fact that we read X-Men. It's all this politics. I mean, Knights of X was packed this week. Did not make my list. It was good, but it wasn't,
I mean,
it wasn't red.
We spend such. If you told me a few years ago that we would devote so much time to talking about X-Men politics and X-Men fashion, I probably wouldn't have believed you. But here we are, and it's good. Cool. It's good shit. It's a lot of fun.
And even the X-Men book, the main flagship title, it's action, most of it, but there's still a lot of great shit going on there with society and anti-human stuff. All right, Dave has nothing on the Hellfire Gala. You gonna read it though, right?
I may pick it up, but I don't read a lot of X-Men books.
I don't like the fashion. All right, Kenobi.
Dave ain't up the X-Men's ass like we are, I guess.
I am definitely
sorry.
way up there.
Well, fuck you, David. Anyway, Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Vader instructs Reva to find Kenobi, promising to promote her to Grand Inquisitor if she can succeed. Kenobi and Leia transport lands on the mining planet Mapuzo, and they proceed to the rendezvous provided by Haja. Finding no one there, they take a ride on an Imperial transport run by... I want to know where that dude was January 6th. Okay, I need to know where that guy was.
For sure he'd be storming Dagobah or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah, right.
Well, Coruscant, I guess, makes the most sense.
But. They're discovered by Imperial troopers. A bunch of shit happens. A female Imperial officer, Tala, who's a member of the Underground Network. Hints of the rebellion.
Yeah,
already.
This is pre-rebellion.
Yeah.
This is pre-Rebels.
She escorts them to a subterranean passageway.
Yeah, Rebels takes place like 4 or 5 years after this, I think.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But then Vader shows up, and it is just on. Big, cool action scene. Kenobi is not good. Kenobi is not good.
Oh, he gets his ass handed to him.
Yes, he gets his ass.
Like, Kenobi clearly has been not in touch with the Force for a while, and it shows,
Or he's just scared. He's really surprised. He thought, Anakin had died. And
he is
just shocked.
He is completely off balance, and so it is a total stomping for Vader.
Yeah. So Tala provides a distraction and to save Kenobi, but Leia is intercepted by Reva in the tunnel. Boom, boom, boom. So yeah, we got old man Kenobi, who has to learn his ways learn his way back to what he used to be by hanging out with a little girl. And I'm sorry, that's not even a criticism. Okay, that's comparing it to one of the greatest fucking movies ever made, Logan. All right, I'm sorry, that movie is brilliant. Then I'm okay with it. I really am okay with it.
Apparently there's like division within the internet, as it's so often the case with Star Wars, about Leia's role in the story, but I like it a lot. I think that I really like that they went with her instead of Luke because this is an opportunity to see young Leia that we haven't ever really gotten before. It's also, I also think she is the more appropriate character to use here, you know?
Yeah.
But the relationship that they have is really, it's really good. It's a great part of the show. Like, I like, you know, them kind of adapting to telling their elaborate series of lies together.
Yeah, they really work together until fucking Obi-Wan has literally an old man moment, you know?
Yeah.
He calls her the wrong thing.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. Ben has really beat the fuck up. You know, he's been lost, and it shows. And everybody griping that, oh, this isn't the Obi-Wan Kenobi I remember. And I'm like, well, no shit.
That's the exact
whole
point. Yeah,
that's the whole point.
That is what this series is about, is the fact that this is Obi-Wan at his lowest point.
Yeah, and I'm assuming even showed earlier on in the series this other Jedi who was out and doing things. And he's dead now. He's dead. And it's like, no, Obi-Wan got a different mission. And then he's like, well, yeah, he's got one job. And then he left Tatooine. And I was like, well, it's kind of the same job, you know, in a way, to take care of the kids. But again, I need to know where this guy was on January 6th.
I mean,
you know that was probably Zach Braff, right?
But no, it was Zach Braff. He's already come out and said that it was him.
I always think it is interesting, though, when we get to kind of go out into the universe here and see like the people who are drinking the Kool-Aid for the Empire. You know,
it's kind of
it makes it more believable. These people must exist within this universe. You know,
most of the people. It must be most of the people.
Probably.
It's more of a shock that it's an alien and not a human.
Oh, that's true. There is a lot of racism going on.
Because there's a lot of anti-alien sentiment in the Empire.
Yeah, but I mean, this dude is on some backwater shithole and is a bootlicking motherfucker. Of course, the Imperial troopers are gonna love his ass, you know. I don't know, man. I don't know. I think it really worked to push that a little bit more. And I think it was sort of this mirror, this duality of, here's this guy who's an alien who is just a working everyday Joe, and he's all in on the Empire.
Honestly, I think it's more believable this way. I mean, you're not going to have every single stormtrooper on every single planet all just uniformly be just like, you know, kicking the shit out of aliens and any chance they get. And you're also not going to see every single alien, you know, savvy to the fact that the Empire is not their friend. Yeah.
And then, but you get that duality there with that Imperial officer who, you know, saves their ass, and I think that really works for the overall politics.
Yeah, I mean, anything you can add in to make the situation more complex, more nuanced is a good thing, I think.
Yeah. The Vader is full Vader in this. He just
he
dripping people in the hallway, just knocking the books out of their hands.
Shows up like he kills that one kid. I think breaks his neck. Yeah,
I don't even want to
kill more than one person.
Oh, he kills a lot of people. Yeah, but like I was talking specifically about like a child that he broke the neck of.
Well, that was his first go-to.
But I mean, Vader is no stranger to murdering children, so hey, whatever. But one thing I will say, though,
forgiving this guy eventually, you know, we end up forgiving him eventually. It's so weird to me.
But yeah, Vader is very Vader in this episode, and that's a cool thing. Although I will say, though, that like it does, if they don't have another confrontation, it really does kind of make it confusing in A New Hope when Vader is like, you know. Last time we fought, I was the pupil, but now I am the master. That was not the case in this fight. If this was the last time they fought before that, he beat the shit out of Obi-Wan.
There's got to be another moment where that
there has to be. They wouldn't have drugged Vader into this.
Yeah, dude. They've got to cover that. They've got.
I'm sure they will. But like, if this was their last confrontation, that line really doesn't make sense anymore.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of lines that don't make sense. I think I mentioned it. Leia saying to, you know, leaving the message, you fought with my father in the Clone Wars, and not, hey, you rescued me from Fleet at one time, remember?
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it doesn't make any sense. But
I've also seen people point out that like her comforting Luke after Kenobi died makes even less sense.
Oh, yeah.
But hey, that was a movie that was made like 60 years ago.
Maybe they're going to fix that too. Maybe Dad's going to be and wipe the little girl's memory.
Well, I think we just have to. I think we just have to accept at a certain point that not everything is going to line up when there's this many people telling stories.
Come on, just
so honestly, just don't worry about it.
Yeah, just stop, everyone. I mean, we're comic book people, okay? We live and die by continuity in a lot of cases, but
Yeah.
And our
continuity is a
changes.
double-edged sword, okay? It's great that Vader and Kenobi have this backstory that you can get into, but if you go way into that and look at every little finite detail of the story and just pick it apart, of course it's going to break.
Yeah.
Of course it's going to break.
I mean,
man.
honestly,
Have
as comic
fun.
readers, like, I think it's staggering the amount of continuity that the writers just simply ignore. I mean, how much of Batman from the 50s and 70s do people actually pay that much attention
From the
to
90s
nowadays?
and 2000s, there's shit that's ignored.
Occasionally, Grant Morrison will like pull some shit out of his ass that happened in like 1960 or whatever. But
just
other
to
than
use
that,
it
yeah,
as a tool, you know, and it's like a hammer. You can use it to build a house or destroy a house. And if you get too deep into that, you're just going to destroy the house. But if you use it as a tool, pick and choose, do what you want, have fun. Just have fun. This shit isn't meant to define your life. It's just meant to entertain you and have a good time, man.
It works.
I had a good time. I'm having a good time with Kenobi.
I absolutely am too. I didn't mean to imply otherwise. But yeah, this was a lot of fun. Vader was awesome in this. I'm really enjoying this story quite a lot so far, and we're only halfway through.
Yeah, I think we're gonna have a double dose because I think Ms. Marvel is
this Wednesday is Ms. Marvel.
Yeah, so we're gonna overlap because we're definitely gonna talk about Ms. Marvel now. It's gonna be a little kid show. It's gonna be like iCarly or Hannah Montana.
We should go in knowing that we are not really the target demographic of the show.
So I can only talk about it from a certain perspective.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm going to talk about it. It's still part of the MCU. You know, she's still going to show up.
We still have an obligation, to discuss these Disney Plus Marvel shows. Exactly. But we should, go in recognizing who this show was originally intended for.
Yeah. My vengeance number 1. No, I'm just kidding. Let's go.
Yummy.
The food news this week is only a one shot, but it is disgusting. In Canada, there's a restaurant called Swiss Chalet. Anybody heard of this Swiss Chalet?
I have not.
No,
I haven't either until I saw this disgusting thing. This is the Nashville hot crispy chicken ice cream sandwich.
What the fuck?
Thank you. God. This monstrosity can only come out of a couple of places. Canada would not have been my first guess. Something, honestly, I don't want to sound racist. Japan. All right.
Yeah.
In Japan, they eat a lot of weird shit. They just do.
They put eggs on every burger.
Okay. So I like hot chicken. Yes. I like ice cream. These things should not go together.
Yeah. It's like I like tuna fish and peanut butter. But I'm not going to have a tuna fish and peanut butter sandwich.
No.
Yeah. These are just things that are not matched up.
This is a breaded, I don't even know how to say it, but a breaded chicken breast tossed in a new Nashville hot glaze. Okay, first of all, that's appropriation. Okay, you have to be in Nashville. It's just like a Philly cheesesteak. Okay, it is. You don't get one unless you're in Philadelphia. This is not actual Nashville hot chicken. Anyway, on a toasted bun and topped with a scoop of vanilla ice cream that's drizzled with honey. Drizzled with honey is actually the best part here.
I wasn't sure what that was, actually. I thought it might have been syrup or something.
Now, I could go for a hot chicken with honey. That I could do.
Oh, that's exactly what I was about to say.
I mean, if you take any one of these three things out, it would be a pretty good thing. I would like the ice cream with the honey. I would like the chicken with the honey. But I don't want all three of them,
Yeah. And then that bread. That's not how I eat ice cream sandwiches.
That's not how you eat Nashville hot chicken.
It's not actually how you eat Nashville hot chicken. It's supposed to be like Wonder Bread, right?
Well, the bread is just there to kind of absorb the juice. You don't actually eat it in sandwich mode,
Well,
or at least most people I know don't. Either way, though, this is terrible.
You can find this at Swiss Chalet locations in Canada through August 7th. If you get one and you're in Canada, let me know.
I am not going to Canada to try this.
Oh, I'm going to have one mail ordered, DoorDashed.
But do you guys remember back before Nashville was like nationally famous for hot chicken?
Vaguely.
Yes.
I mean, I feel like this really only became a thing like 10 years ago. I mean, we've always had like Prince's and Bolton, so there has always been Nashville hot chicken as long as we've been alive, but it didn't become like our signature dish until like 10 years ago.
Well, we didn't have another. People were like, Nashville needs a signature dish. How about Prince's?
Well, whoever came up with that branding did a good job, Prince's and Bolton's are both, good.
They're great. And it's almost like in Philly, there's like two cheesesteaks. There's like Geno's, and then there's another one. I'm a Geno's guy. right? But it's
Do
basically
you actually
the same
know
thing.
it or just refuse to say their name?
I don't remember it. It's Geno's and something
Paps,
else.
I think.
Yeah, it's something. I don't know. But anyway,
You know more
it's the
about
same thing
C6
with
than I do, apparently.
It's the same thing with the hot chicken. You're either a princess or a bolts. Anyway, with this, however, I can see the logic almost to this because you want to cool your mouth off with something dairy.
Yeah, I assume that's the idea that led us to this particular disaster.
So why couldn't you have had it
having
as
your
a
glass of
milkshake?
milk with a milk. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good way to do it. Yeah, if you're gonna have this hot chicken sandwich, put the honey on. That seems like a decent idea. But then just have a milkshake. Yeah.
That seems much more appropriate.
But this is a bad idea.
Yeah, this is a bad idea. It's gross. But if you have one, if you have availability, please try it and let me know. I'm not going to reimburse you for it. Don't send me the receipt.
Putting other people's money where your mouth is.
That's exactly right. Let's do comics. It was a terrible week for comics. And not terrible like there were bad comics. It was terrible like there weren't a lot of comics. Taylor, you want or Dave? Who wants to go? I'll go first.
I can start us off if you want me to.
Yeah.
All right. I guess I'll do an honorable mention for Avengers Forever. This was just kind of like a humdrum issue. They do the origin story of an alternate universe T'Challa. Yeah. I mean, here they got him looking like Spider-Man, and he was definitely rocking the Spider-Man vibe early on. But then they made him Iron Man, and then it ends with him being Superman.
Yeah, I saw the preview. I didn't read this at all, but I did see the preview where he's they're rocketing him away. And
yeah, I mean, this is them gathering up a multiversal Avengers, and this is just the showcase of this particular character. It is also a decent showcase of King Killmonger being a cosmic level threat, though. So that aspect,
cool.
It did some cool stuff here. It was just kind of a forgettable issue overall, though.
Cool.
But I'll do a number 3 for. The order of these is kind of arbitrary, I guess, but I guess I'll do number 3 for King Conan, number 5.
Cool.
We get the backstory of Conan's arch nemesis, Thothamon.
Oh, finally.
Yeah. And, Jason Aaron does have a talent for grisly backstories. This is him doing that. Thothamon, murdered everyone in his seminary in order to become, the high priest of Set. So,
Nice.
Such ambition is only known to a Sith.
It did have kind of a Sith vibe to it, yeah. And so yeah, it was a fun read, if not a particularly, gushing one that I'm going to give about it.
Cool. Oh, that's your number 3.
That's it. That's all I got to say.
Oh, okay. My bad.
Humdrum week this week.
It was a humdrum week. I'm pretty sure this is going to be on Dave's list, but I will do a honorable mention for Righteous Thirst for Vengeance number 8.
That is my number 3, actually.
Yeah, there's no way that's not on your list. We'll talk about it in a minute. But another one is that I think might have made Dave's list this week is a book called New Think number 1. Greg Hurwitz and Mike Deodato. This is my number 3. It's a solid debut issue. This is a new anthology series. We talked about it last week. It's basically Black Mirror. Right. This one just compares. Yeah, this one basically just compares the internet and screen entertainment in general, pretty much, to an invasion that we've lost. The screens have invaded us and we have lost. It was kind of shallow and pointed for a topic that's, kind of deep and full of nuance, especially from what I've seen in other, comics and other. Black Mirror itself, is much deeper and nuanced in this, but it was still solid. It was a good opening. And I'm hoping that we get more of the same, or maybe better. That was AWA, by the way.
Yeah, that was one of the AWA books that come out this week. AWA doesn't do bad things. Oh, yeah, generally. They're great.
All right, go ahead, Dave, because I'm excited for you to.
All right, my honorable mentions include the New Think. Include New Think. You're number 3.
Nice.
And my other honorable mention is going to go to Step by Bloody Step, number 4.
Solid ending.
Yes.
Full circle. Very poetic.
It's cyclical.
Yeah.
The armor is basically the previous child, apparently.
Yeah.
Is what I took away from it.
Yeah, and then it moves on. It was kind of cool, man. It was kind of cool.
Yeah.
I think it sort of stands for like the younger generation moves the machine, and it's handed off. There was depth here,
Yeah.
I'd have to read it again all the way through, basically because there's no real dialogue, there's no real story.
Oh, there's never any dialogue to it.
Yeah.
It's all the art's telling the story, and where there is dialogue, it's in a language we can't decipher.
Yeah, we can't wait. So it might as well not even be there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, as mentioned, my number 3 is A Thirsty Rice for Vengeance.
Yep, thirsty right for vengeance.
A righteous thirst for vengeance.
Man, this book is.
I'm just trying to
nuts.
think of what a thirsty right for vengeance would even
Yeah,
be
right.
about.
That's Batman. That's Batman.
Oh my gosh, this book is violence in and of itself. Oh
Dude,
my gosh, this is
breaks
like
glass
reminiscent
and tortures him.
of like that scene from like one of the very early Spawn issues with the Violator.
Yes.
With the ice cream man in it.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, this is so reminiscent of that. But our hero gets caught trying to save the boy. The man is torturing him, breaks glass, sticks it in his skin, and all hell breaks loose. And
breaks loose.
Yes, it is a brutal fight.
He does get back at him.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this is almost comical because he's butt naked with all this glass sticking out of him, and he's just fighting the hell out of this dude.
Yeah, and the death of this guy is so poetic.
Oh, it's yeah. So I'm all caught up on this series now, dude. It's fantastic.
It is a really wonderful series. It is a strong. Most of my picks this week have been strong artwork.
Oh, this for sure. But I mean, it's the sequential storytelling too. I mean,
is sequential. This
Rick Remender knows his shit.
This is modern sequential storytelling. It is a beautiful book, and I'm so glad that this book is out at the same time as Shaolin Cowboy, because this is the stuff I love.
Yeah, this brutal. I mean, this is kind of funny, dude. And there are twisted way.
There are some twisted comical moments in this, but this book delivers every month.
And we say that it's also got some of these hopeful moments, like. Because dude is really upset that he lost this kid, and now that he's got him back, and you can tell he's fighting not for his life. He could give a shit. He's fighting to save this kid, and that heroism does really come out of the book, despite the fact that there's not a lot of words in it.
No, this is another book that just basically is storytelling through art.
Yeah, excellent choice. Taylor, number 2.
Like I said, it's a slow week, so my number 2 is going to be Knights of X number 2.
Oh, okay.
I went back. I actually had read Knights of X number 1. I actually got that back issue this week, so I read them both back to back here. Like you said, this is just basically one big set of action sequences. The team is split up, going in different directions. Mostly, I guess I'm just picking this because of the total telling of the story so far. Like I said, I read them both back to back this week.
Sure.
So yeah, I actually dropped off of Excalibur after a while, and so yeah, I am back into the Otherworld scene, and I am enjoying it. So
it's weird that because a lot, like we said earlier, a lot of the X books are dealing with politics and these deep things. This book, there's politics there, but it is not leaning into it nearly as hard as the other books, and I think it's sort of lacking for that because Otherworld and this circle and Merlin being in charge now, and even the fact that in this issue, what's his name gets taken and put in jail.
Jim Jasp, Mad Jim.
And what's his name is in charge, Death or whatever, over in Vampire Land or whatever.
Yeah, and that's where they're heading next.
Yeah, they're getting there, and that's fun, and it's action-packed. But I'm like, damn, I want to see more of Merlin doing his shit in this weird circle, doing politicking and just talking shit. But it's still a great book. Yeah, still a really great, solid book. My favorite part of that is fucking Shogo and Jubilee, I think. I really like that. It's fun. It's a fun little angle.
Yeah, it is. I thought it was kind of interesting how he's on the mission, but she isn't here,
Yeah. All right, I'll go. My number 2, and this is a weird one. Did everybody read this? Justice League Road to Dark Crisis?
Sorry.
Yeah, kind of my default number 1 this week.
Nice. It had these 4 stories in it. Team Up by Joshua Williamson and Dan Jurgens. Life of Purpose by Jeremy Adams and Rosie Campe. Survivors by Chuck Brown and Fico Azio. The Pariah by Philip Kennedy Johnson and Lila DeLuca. And Because the Night by Stephanie Phillips and Clayton Henry. So basically, this is a one-shot glimpse into the new status quo now that the Justice League are dead. I love Nightwing here. The Justice League are coming back. He's almost in denial. They're carrying that through with a few characters in here, including Wally.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting here how several characters acknowledge that this is kind of a difficult thing for them to commit to, mourning the dead. Yeah, this has happened so many times. They've mourned, and like Wally even points out, we've had a funeral that turned into a party a few months later.
Even Batman has died and come back.
I thought they did a good job handling that. Yeah, like every single major character in the DC universe has been dead at some point, And I think it is kind of an interesting facet to living in that world where is it worth investing my emotional energy to start the mourning process? Yes. Will it be worse if I do? And it turns out I did it for nothing. And so, that's really kind of an awful situation to be in, honestly. But this is following around all the different people who I assume are the main characters of Dark Crisis. And it, I think, did a good job with each of the individual characters here. So this was a fun read. It was basically just a big anthology. I really don't think it was necessary reading, but it was a pretty fun read. And it wasn't too expensive for an anthology book.
This shit right here at the end might have been necessary.
Maybe.
This little pick up here, this new, I don't know, Doom Society, I don't know.
Legion of Doom, whatever.
What the fuck ever, something. There's something going on here. But yeah, dude, I had a great time with this book. I really like the idea of Dark Crisis. I like the idea that DC is just like, we know that's stupid. We know that the Justice League are going to come back. We're just going to tell this story anyway. And that's going to be part of the story.
Yeah, from a meta perspective,
the characters themselves know.
I do think that this is the writers also kind of pointing out, like, this is temporary, of course, but yeah.
And I mean, I think it's more than that because this Dark Army, I think the nature of this Dark Army is basically going to lean into death and that sort of shit. Like Wally in this, he's like, "Oh, I'm getting Barry back. He's sort of like Nightwing.
Yeah, earlier you were pointing out when they were previewing the books for Dark Crisis that one of the solicits for a future Flash issue is saying that he's figured out how to go get Barry.
Yeah.
So, they're not exactly... They're not fucking with us on that, and I actually kind of appreciate it,
And it's not even like they're not fucking with us, like they're making it this sort of meta thing, and it's really cool because like you said, is it even worth it for these characters to invest in mourning? And it's like, wow, that is a really cool question.
Yeah, that was an interesting perspective. I thought they handled it really well. Like the peculiarities of living in a universe where is it going to stick this time?
Yeah, dude, it's really cool. It was really fun. Well, that was my number 2, Dave. And that was Taylor's number 1. So, Dave.
Dave getting that musical intro here.
Number 4.
Oh man, this was great.
This was awesome.
This was cool.
So now we've got the kids, the little monsters are dividing upon eat the humans and don't eat the humans lines, and the ones that eat the humans find the other humans and go snacking. It's great.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh man, I love this. It's so good." But then they don't realize the humans can fight back, bro.
Yeah,
and this is the end. That's
the last panels in the book right there.
It's like, oh shit, what's gonna happen? And it's like, it's weird because these little vampires don't really realize that they're kind of vampires. They know that they're different and they know what they do, but they don't realize what vampires are and how they're. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but
they don't understand how life sort of is and how precious it is. It's really cool.
One of the things I'm not
that is a hardcore spoiler. Sorry, dude.
I'm not understanding
in
this book right now is that the twins.
Yeah.
We get in the early part of the book, we get introduced to the twins before they're vampires, and it seems like they are in the 1930s.
It seems like they are in it rough, yeah.
So it seems like
depression.
Depression era, and that's where they're living. So have they been vampires this whole time? Because they get
either
introduced
that
to
or
a
it was
guy.
at the beginning of the apocalypse that has happened. But then begs the question: well, when did they become vampires? Then after the apocalypse?
It's becoming kind of a vague.
I'm not sure if it matters though. I'm not sure if it matters.
I mean, it doesn't matter. It
Well,
only
one of
matters
them's dead
if they
now
were
anyway, so
vampires.
we know it don't matter.
We don't know yet. We just know that's the end of the book. But
yeah.
But now the question is, we know they've been vampires for a very long time, waiting for the master. Have they been, like you said, have they been vampires prior to the apocalypse?
Exactly.
So, and when does this story take place now? Because if these two twins are in the 1930s, I mean, it's just snowballs.
Questions. Yeah, snowballs. I don't know if that's important to the story, but it's definitely a question. Yes, definitely a question.
But I do love the colors of gray, black, and white, and just the occasional pop of red.
Yeah,
this is again another book that is telling the story through art.
Yeah,
and
it really is.
Jeff Lemire does beautiful work, but he's a great storyteller.
Yeah, he gets that Dustin to win art. So
yeah,
that was your number 2.
That's my number 2.
Taylor's number 1 now. We back around to number 1.
I already said it. It was Dark Crisis, or rather Road to Dark Crisis.
Road to Dark Crisis. Man, leaves it to me. My number 1. Damn, this is a weird pick. Batman Annual 22.
I haven't even bothered reading that yet.
Dude, it's rad. It's really fun, man. It's Ed Bryson and John Timms. Batman Inc. centric. Bruce Wayne puts Ghostmaker in charge of this just eclectic band of
Misfits.
Batmans. I mean, look at them. They're kind of silly, dude. They kind of look silly as fuck. Look at
they're no Captain Americas of the United States.
Yeah, they're wild, dude. But I mean, it really works, dude. All these Batmans. I really love the idea of there being a franchise, a Batman franchise with Batman Inc. So Ghostmaker's in charge now. He's the one who gets to decide where everybody goes, and then they go and do their thing. I don't know, dude. There's such a great opportunity here for these conflicts that could come with franchising, as this gets bigger and bigger. Ghostmaker's already sort of a loose cannon. He's got some of these great scenes with Clown Puncher, whoever the fuck he is.
Clown Hunter.
And he's like, Phantom 2. He's like, hey, we didn't discuss that I was going to be Phantom 2. Like Ghostmaker's trying to give him a new sidekick nickname. But then they add this motherfucker to the team. This is a new guy called Grey Wolf. And it was a pretty solid story, dude. It was extra long because it was an annual. So we get Batman and Ghostmaker telling the whole team we're doing Batman Inc. again. And then the second story is them actually going on a mission where they find this Grey Wolf guy. Pretty basic comic booking. I'm just really excited because, yes, we are getting another Batman Inc. title ongoing here in a month or two. So solid book, solid read. And it's nice to read Batman again and have it actually feel like it's, something new and different and exciting again. So number 1, Batman Annual 22. And that leads us to Dave.
The Closet, number 1.
Solid.
Very
solid.
Good. I just, it's
easy to explain, but it's hard to, because there's nuance there.
Yeah, there's some, like if you follow like any kind of like paranormal topics and stuff, there are some tropes in here, but we get introduced to the father, the mother, the kid, and we get introduced to the monster in the closet, and it's just this. He is terrifying. He is not very big, but he is terrifying. He kind of reminds me of Blacktop Bill in a lot of ways.
Oh, he looks like an alien to me.
He does. He has a very reminiscent of like a gray.
Yeah, head alien. Yeah,
but he's big head, little body, but he's all black with a smile, and he's like just black skinned.
Yeah, James Tynion does some good stuff here with presenting the story. Basically, it's a dad at a bar talking to the bartender. Kind of cheap if you think about it, that's the way, he laid out the foundations of this plot. But it worked really well because James Tynion is such a damn good writer. But then you get home and it just feeds into this like dysfunctional family and this horrible thing happening. And if this family wasn't so dysfunctional, if they actually focused where they needed to focus, they'd be able to help this kid out. But there's also some other things here. There's like, this is analogous to like this kid's monster in the closet was at one point associated in the story with the kid's parents arguing, you know? So there's that depth, you know, there too, where Tynion's sort of, you know, looking at things and saying that there are other things, where the monster in the closet really is just this kid having a bad time because his parents are shit.
It's a trauma that the boy has experienced that's manifested itself in some way. It could be like a tulpa.
I mean, that nice house on the lake too. That sort of does the same thing. You know, it's talking about internal trauma in this external way. I think that's kind of what he's doing with the closet. And yeah, it works. It's really good. The reason it didn't make my list or even a mention this week is because it just seems like it's been done before. And maybe that's part of it. You know, he's working with so many tropes, like you said, and tropes aren't necessarily bad, but in this case, there were a lot and he didn't get to where he needed to go. This did set them up to be moving in the next issue. Like they're moving to a new house. So that's good. That's opening things up to be something different. But still, yeah, dude, it's hard to argue with James Tynion. The dude's writing the best damn book on comic shelves right now, you know? Not this one, but that's a good choice. Good choice.
Thank you.
Especially on such a terrible week of comics. Anyway, we're going to do it again next week. But thanks for listening, everybody. Check out the Bullies. They got a show coming up later tonight. Leroy and Eli talking all about pop culture, stuff like that. If you want links to all that sort of stuff, go to outrightgeekery.com. We got links to the Bullies, to us, to merch, to Patreon, all of our social media, anything and everything that you would need to talk to us or hang out with us or do stuff with us. Come back tomorrow night. We're going to do the preview show where we talk about all of the new books coming out next week. And there are some fantastic ones. I think that'll just be me and Taylor unless.
Probably.
I won't be here tomorrow.
Yeah, but we got David on Sunday. We don't get him the next day.
Oh, I miss him every other day. But
I'm glad he's gone.
Great, yeah, I know.
I'm
Great
glad
Dark Crisis title coming out. I'm very
stoked. Just Josh and you
stuff starting. So, again, thanks for listening, everybody. We really appreciate it. But most of all, thanks to these guys for hanging out with this guy.
Always a pleasure.
We are gonna do it again next time.
Same geek time, same geek channel.
If Dave really had dedication, he'd just call out.
Yeah, it's clear where his priorities are.
Making money so he can live.
Ooh, I need to earn a living. Ooh.